Amen. I just feel a little better now. I just feel a little better. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. 2 Corinthians chapter 12. Starting at verse 7, there you find these words recorded. Because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, for this reason, to keep me from exalting myself, there was given me a thorn in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from exalting myself. Concerning this, I implored the Lord 3 times that it might leave me. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. For power is perfected in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I would rather boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. Therefore, I am well content with weaknesses, with insults, with distress, with persecutions, with difficulties for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong. If you don't mind, I want to use a Rick James song, Fire and Desire. Fire and Desire. Don't act like this is the first time you've heard that. Roll back with me. It was 1981, and Rick James and Tina Marie penned this love ballad, if you will. It's almost an argument if you really get down to it, but it's Fire and Desire. And if we were to be real with ourselves, with God, we would have to admit when ain't nobody looking, our relationship with God is the same way. Preach, Davis. It is fire and desire. It is an anger, yet a longing. If you were to be real with yourself, I'm not talking about your church self. I'm talking about your real self. You know there are times in which you have issue with God, but is there anybody know that I can have issue with God and still want him? Y'all too churchy for me. Is there anybody in here ever been in love with somebody that also made you mad? And I don't know about y'all, but it just seems to me that we ought not come into the sanctuary and act fake and act like every day is sunny. There are some days that you look up in heaven and say, I can't believe you did me like that. But in the same verse, you say, Lord, I thank you for another day's journey. Preach up in here, Davis. Is there anybody in here ever had that moment and say, God, I'm mad at you, but at the same time, I love you with everything that I have? It is fire and desire. There are 3 things I want to share with you before I take my seat. In fact, I'm only going to give you 2 because I've been on the road for 2 weeks. First of all, here is Paul writing an angry letter to the church at Corinth. And not only is it angry, it's also a hurting letter. And is there any parent in here ever been angry at your child and hurt by your same child at the same time? Anybody ever had to pick up the phone and let little Johnny, let little Mary know, I'm mad and I'm hurt all at the same time? I know you in church and you can't be real, but if you was going to be real today, you look at me and say, I'm mad as hell, yet I'm also hurt as hell. In fact, I don't know if I want to slap you or hug you. I don't know if I want to kick you or walk away from you. There are some unique situations in which folk will hurt you and you're mad, but at the same time, you got to say, I still love you in spite of yourself. And that's what Paul is doing. Paul is looking at the church saying, listen, I established you, and what I'm hearing is there's worldliness that's come up into the church. There's internal strife in the church, and there's doctrinal defections happening in the church. And I'm angry because I can't believe you let all this stuff happen. Is there anybody ever had to look at your child and say, you know I didn't raise you that way? I need to talk to some real parents. Don't act like your kid is on straight street all the time. I need to talk to some real parents that every once in a while you got to sit them down and say, you know I didn't raise you like that. I didn't teach you to say them words. I didn't teach you to go to them places. But is there anybody in here know that no matter how well you raise them, they will lose their mind eventually? Now, you young parents, just keep on living. Listen, the same one that will draw you that macaroni Mother's Day gift will be the same one that'll have you crying on another Mother's Day. And you better believe that the love you have at the macaroni moment better be the same love you have at the cry. They will upset you. They will upset you. I'll never forget that here I am talking to my son, and I'm looking at him, and we're having a conversation, and I got to look at him and say, boy, I am upset with you and hurt by you all at the same time. I'm upset that I can't believe you did what you did, and I'm hurt you did it under my name. Y'all will get that when you go home. And that's the way Jesus doing some of us. He said, I can't believe you did what you did, and I can't believe you did it under my name. Walking around here calling yourself a Christian with your crazy self, walking around here acting nutty with yourself, and yet you want to use my name. And so I'm hurt, but I'm also angry with you. And the reality is that don't be afraid of your emotions. Just don't be ran by your emotions. Preach up in here, Davis. I'm so tired of some of y'all that get mad and stay mad. In fact, the only way you stay mad is to remind yourself what they did. Now, that's insanity by itself. How am I going to remind myself what you did to make me mad? You ain't even mad about what you did, but I'm mad about what you did. 4, 5, 6 weeks later, 7 months later. Now, the crazy one in here ain't you, it's... And so Paul is dealing with the anger of here y'all go, messing up the church. But then he gets hurt. Because the same folk that he saved, the same folk that he preached to, the same folk that he helped, are now questioning his authenticity as an apostle. Boy, I need to talk to some parents up in here that your child had the nerve to question your authority as a parent. You ever look at your child and look at you and say, you can't tell me? Woo, I'm in somebody's business right now. I am grown. You can't tell me what to do. They're questioning your authority. And is there any real parents in here? No, I almost did 5 to 10 when they questioned my authority, because I had to let him know I'm the one that brought you in this world, and I'd be the one to take you out of this world. As long as you got my name and you're down here, I'm going to always be dad. You can get hurt even though you're telling them all that. There's something on the inside of you that is still hurt, that you can't believe you have the audacity to think you have matriculated to the point that you can look at me flat-footed in my face and tell me I can't tell you what to do. Do you know who I am? Not only am I daddy, I'm also T, Terrell, and TD. And before I was daddy, I was them thing. And don't let me forget who you are and deal with you as if you from the streets. Now, you holy parents, y'all don't get this. I ain't talk to y'all real parents out there that you didn't have that moment where you had to tell your daughter, hold on, let me take my earrings off. Because clearly you think you talking to somebody out there. Let me get my earrings off. As a matter of fact, let me kick off my shoes. Because you didn't lost all of your mind. And I need to let you know that before you step to me, you better watch yourself. Because, boy, y'all, some of y'all can't say amen because you guilty. Some of y'all, if y'all parents in the sanctuary, you ought to send them a text right now and say, I'm sorry. Davis gave me a whole new vision of you. I'm sorry, because you see, our kids will forget we ain't always been parents. And my kids will forget I ain't always been a pastor. I'll never forget, we were in Tulsa visiting, and we had a little rough point here, a little rough patch in our lives. And in fact, T, I don't know what he was thinking, but we sat down with my brothers, and they were talking. And I think T must have somewhere in this 2.5-hour trip thought to himself, Daddy done got fat, Daddy done got slow, and Daddy just ain't as motivated as he used to be. The next time he tell me what to do, I got something for him. He always talking about giving 2 pieces. I got something for him. The next time he say something, and as we sat down, God gave him a revelation. Right in front of everybody. As we sat down and we were talking, and my brothers and my cousin was in there, they started talking about me knocking folks out. And I saw the look come on T's face. And my brother said, yeah, you remember when you swung on so-and-so? I'm not going to say the names up in here. And so-and-so, and my son looked again, and he says, in fact, you remember that time I got arrested and you swung on me in the police station? And T looked, and he said, Uncle, what did you say? He said, it was a misunderstanding. I got arrested, and I was in jail, and I was handcuffed, and they made your daddy come get me. And he got mad because I was laughing, and he swung on me with police officers all the way around. He said, he wasn't worried about going to jail. He said, something about your daddy, that if something snaps in him, he ain't worried about nothing else other than making this thing right. Y'all will get that when you go home, making this thing right. And I saw the blood in T's face go out. And he got real pale. And he said, Daddy, I'm sorry. I said, I forgive you. He said, you don't know what I'm sorry about. I said, trust me. I discerned what you was thinking on the drive up here. And I didn't want to deal with you, so I asked God, give him revelation so that I ain't got to preach his funeral in front of New Hope. And God just answered my prayers right there, because the moment you think you big enough to walk up to me, you better understand that I will rather bury you and see myself in jail than to walk around here ashamed that you whooped me. For all you parents out there, let me tell you what, that'll keep your kids out of jail. That'll keep them out of other folks' business. My mama put it this way when we was in the Bahamas. They was asking her, how did you raise T to be so good and all this? She said, first of all, let me tell you, he ain't all that. I said, Mama, listen, they read my bio. They think I'm all that. She said, shut up, boy. He ain't all that. She said, I'd rather him be more afraid of me than he is of the police. That if he ever thought he was going to go crazy, he'd call 911 on himself and hope the police got there before I got there. I need to talk to some real parents that understand we got to learn how to raise them up right so the police ain't got to bang them on the head. We'll bang them on the head first. I'm still in the text. I'm still in the text. Fire and desire. Fire. Fire is I'm mad. Desires, I want to see the best out of you. Listen. That blows me away, that you mad and you seeing fire, but you also have a desire for me to be the best I can be. And it's a parental thing that God gives us to give us a view of how he deals with us. Because God says, if y'all got that issue, how much worse is the issue for me, and I'm perfect? And so it's an angry letter. When you look at 2 Corinthians, it's an angry letter, and then Paul is hurt. How dare y'all question my credentials? How dare you question what I did for you? And listen, kids will hurt you, parents, because they don't know what you sacrificed to get them there. They don't know how many meals you didn't eat so they could eat. They don't know how many jobs you worked so there could be a roof over their head. They don't know how many things you gave up so that they might have. They will forget and not fully understand your sacrifice. And the problem I have isn't with the kid. The problem I have is with the parent who ain't never made a sacrifice. You walking around here with your hair looking good, with your nails looking good, and your kids got on playmakers. Preach up in here, Davis. You walking around here looking cute. You got on a $300 suit, and your kids ain't even got the stuff they need to go to school. It blows my mind. You walking around here driving in a Lexus and your kids got holes in their clothes, and it ain't because they bought them that way. You see, the first thing you ought to do is take care of the kids God gave you, because that's a sign to God that you can be a good caretaker of the blessing God gave you. If you can't take care of your kids, you don't need to ask Him for nothing else. You see? If you can't be a good steward with Pookie and Ray Ray, how you gonna be a good steward with a mansion and a new car? The mansion and the new car can't even look at you and hug you, but Pookie and Ray Ray can hug you. Take care of. And while I'm at it, let me talk to any sorry daddy up in here who ain't taking care of your kids. Don't praise God and you ain't taking care of your kids, because you just lying to God right there. Because before I can worship Him for who He is, I ought to operate in who I am. Y'all miss it. Why? I am the image of the Lord. And if I'm not taking care of my kids, I tell them God won't take care of them. Because you do realize the first God a kid experience should be you. I'm not saying be a God, but the first God experience should be through the parents. The kid ought to learn the love of God through his parents. And if you can't love them unconditionally, ain't no need of you telling them come to God. I need to talk to all y'all parents out there that you got gay, lesbian, crackhead, budhead, alcoholic, lying, cheating, ain't taking care of their kids, cussing, fussing, kids. You still have an obligation to love them unconditionally. If you don't love them first, how you gonna tell them God loves them next? Because the first thing they gonna say, if God loves me but you don't love me, but you say God is love, then one of y'all lying. And since I know you better than I know God, and you said you never lie to me, then maybe God don't love me. And listen, if you get to heaven and your child tells God that he doesn't love God because you didn't love him, the word talks about the blood being on. See, some of y'all good Baptist folks, y'all used to taking communion, putting on them white gloves, but let me tell you something. Blood will go through white gloves. In other words, you can't hide blood when it's all said and done. I'd rather get to heaven and God said I love too much than to get to heaven and God said I didn't love enough. Fire and desire. Rick James starts the song out by talking to Tina. I'm not going to take y'all through that dialogue, but basically he tells her that he got him a new woman now. But it's some of the same issues that was going on when he was with her. But her story is totally different because she looks different. She's act differently. And then he goes in and says, love them and leave them. That's what I used to do. Use and abuse them. Then I laid my eyes on you. And there was pain before pleasure. That was my claim to fame. Yo, y'all know that song. And everyone in here, let me tell you something, that it is likewise how God deals with us, that before the pleasure, he has to go through some pain. Because how many of you here know that not only are you God's joy, but you've also made God shake his head? Even on my best day, I can make God smile and make God shake his head on the same day. But the good news is God never takes his eyes off of me in either one of those states. Listen. And here's my closing point. I'm about to get up out of here. My doubts of God do not negate my moments with God. You can write that down and put that on your screensaver. Remind yourself that later on this week. My doubt, listen. One of the biggest things that we have lied to church folk about as believers is that they think we totally believe with everything we have. That we never have a moment in which we even ourselves question. Any real folk up in here? Not that I question to the place I don't have faith, because the word said, I believe, yet help my unbelief. That lets me know there is a degree in me that at my toughest hour, there is some unbelief in me. And that's my doubts. That's my doubts. And see, we let other church folk think that we never doubt. I don't never doubt God. Quit lying. All of us have that moment. You ain't perfect. The moment you get to heaven, you're going to be perfect. Until then, you're going to be flawed. And you're going to have to pray the same prayer that the writer said, Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief. Even if you had 99%, there's still 1% that still struggles. And listen. My doubt of God does not negate my moments with God. See, the problem we fail to understand is that I've had more moments with God than I've had without him. Can I walk y'all through your life? You remember early on in your life when you got lost and you didn't know what to do next? And a voice told you where to go, and you found mama and them or daddy and them. That was a God moment. I need to walk you through some more stuff. That moment in which you was in the car wreck and everything looked like everybody should have died, but y'all all walked out of that situation. That was a God moment. Let me help you out. That moment that you was out there having sex unprotected and you didn't come up HIV positive. That was a God moment. You see, we don't want to deal with the fact there have been more God moments than there have been without God. And the moment I start doubting God, it will never negate my moments with God. Why? Satan can't take that away. Satan can't take away the fact that God woke me up this morning and started me on my way. Satan can't take the fact that God has put food on my table and a roof over my head. Satan can't touch that. He can't touch the fact that I've been sick and now I'm well. And the Lord did it all by himself. Satan can't touch the fact that when I should have been dead and gone, God stood up in my life and put a hedge of protection around me. My moments with God are so good that when I think about them, I got to shout by myself. Is there anybody in here that know that at your lowest point, God was still there? When you thought about suicide, God was still there. When you was putting drugs in your veins, God was still there. When you was driving the wrong way, God was still there. When you was out there partying, God was still there. My God moments, let me understand, if he did it yesterday, today, he'll do it again. If he did it last year, he'll do it again. If he did it long ago, he'll do it again. Is there anybody in here ever thought about a God moment that when you was loony and you was crazy, God was still on the throne? My God moments. I'm glad that God keeps showing up in my life. I'm glad when family members walked out on me, God was right there. When friends walked out, God was right there. When people turned their back, God was right there. Is there anybody in here ever look back over your life and start thanking God? Thank you for my God moments. Thank you for my mama. Thank you for my daddy. Thank you for friends. Thank you for siblings. My God moment. Thank you for the lady at church that encouraged me along the way. Thank you for the brothers at church that gave me $5. My God moments. Is there anybody in here that when you was on your way to hell, God showed up and would not let the enemy have the victory? You ought to be in hell. But is there anybody that'll wave at me and say, I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost? Is there anybody here that when you look back over your life, it may not have been easy, but God was right there? Is there anybody here that you know God made a way out of no way? God did some things that if I told you, you think I was exaggerating, but that's how good my God is. I've seen God take one chicken and feed 10 folks. I've seen God take one roast and feed a family. God will. Is there anybody here got a God moment? I double dog dare you to stand up and tell God, I thank you for my God moments. I thank you for watching over me. Is there anybody here that you know they rolled you in the hospital, but you walked out a couple of days later? Your God moments and my moments with God keeps me holding on in spite of what I see. I mean, some of y'all grew up in the country, and the life expectancy of the country was that y'all would have died at 50. And here you are 60 and 70 in your right mind, got all 10 fingers and all 10 toes. That's a God moment. Some of you know you done drove past your funeral, but you wasn't in the casket. You done read the obituary, but your name wasn't on it. That's a God moment. Not because of I was good, but his grace. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. Big Mama say through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already. How many times the enemy thought he had you? In the crosshairs, thought he had you. Sure enough dead this time. Sure enough at your moment this time. And some of y'all can wave at me and say, but God held me close. Y'all gonna make me shout by myself. So I wouldn't let go. I didn't say I held him. God held me. So I wouldn't let go. Think about how many times you was at the wrong place, at the wrong time with God. My God moments, y'all. My God moments. And I mean, I've seen Superman and I've seen all the superhero movies. And what I noticed on all the superhero movies, they got to put a sign up for the superhero to show up. But I need to talk to some real folk that know when I was too stupid to put a sign up. I know y'all don't like that word stupid, but when I was too stupid to ask for help, He still came. Still came to help me. We always want to be churchy. We always want to talk about what we did, what we said, how we did this and how we did that. But is there any real folk that you know you was at your last? God came in, stretched some stuff, moved some stuff. Sometimes he picked me up out of the midst of the madness. And then sometimes he put his arms around me and covered me. And then there was sometimes he just stood at the front door and told the devil, I wish you would. And on this side of the blessing, I thank God for all the ways he delivered me. For all the times he showed up. For all the times he delivered me in spite of me. And it's fire and desire, because I know I upset him. I know that I could have made him mad along the way. But he still came to my rescue. Still came to my defense. And I thank him. See, some of y'all was rich growing up. Some of y'all, like me and Kiki, we didn't have a whole lot of money growing up. But we never knew we was poor, because Grandma had a way of making sure we had everything we needed. I don't know how her and my mom and my aunties did it, but let me tell y'all what. Every football season, we had new cleats. Every basketball season, we had new shoes. Every time we went to school, we had new clothes. And every time we sat at the table or went to that kitchen, there was food in the pot. And growing up, I didn't know how to tell Grandma thank you. I didn't know how to tell God thank you for what he did. But now I realize that one chicken shouldn't feed 10 folk. Now I realize one pot of beans shouldn't feed a whole family 3 generations deep. Now I know that one turkey and a ham, some chitlins and some mashed potatoes and some greens, it ought to run out. But every Thanksgiving, not only did we eat, not only did my cousins eat, but friends stopped by the house. And before we all ate, Mama made plates for the sick and the shut-in to take to them. And now I realize that if you give God your best, see, the word talks about the oil that won't run dry, but I need to talk to some real folk that know that the chitlins won't run dry. The chili won't run out. The cobbler won't run out. That God will. See, we're dignified now. Now we know how to calculate food, or we sit down with Sister Nunn every year. We ask Sister Nunn, how many eggs do we buy? How many pieces of bacon do we buy? How many sausages do we buy? We calculate it because we're all dignified and educated. Well, let me tell y'all what we did in Tulsa, Oklahoma at 1408 North Main. Grandma would just get up and go get my Aunt Shirley, and we go to Warehouse Market. And whatever money they had together, they bought whatever they needed, brought it to the house. And I seen them women get up in the kitchen. I seen my mother and my aunts show up. And I seen them take them groceries and start cooking. I seen them make cornbread, leave it out overnight, put their hands up in it. Seen them take some celery, boil some stuff. Seen them take that old turkey neck, put it in that pot and put some water up in it. I can't tell y'all what I seen on TV. I'm going to tell y'all what I seen in real life. And somewhere between what she was making, I seen her pour it all up in a bowl and mix it all up. And And I seen her put that stuffing down in that pot, that pan, and I seen her put that turkey up in there. I seen her cook it. I seen her take it out. And I seen her say, listen, before we eat, we're going to bless this food. I never see her open up no scripture. I didn't ever hear her sing no hymn. But I seen her say, we're going to bless this food. And it seemed like no matter how many times you went in there, because she never said you couldn't go back for more. All she ever said is, whatever you get, make sure you eat it. We don't waste nothing up in this house. And I'm here today because of fire and desire. I seen that same woman go to graduations and smile. But I also seen her sit on her bedside when the phone rang at 11 o'clock at night. Somebody got in trouble. I heard her just tell God, Lord, I just need you to watch over them. I can't do nothing about the situation, but Lord, I just need you to just watch over them. God has a way of letting you see him through other folk until you can see him for yourself. And now I'm of age. I know God has made a way out of no way. And I thank God because, listen, I'm not all that because he put a stake on the inside of me to keep reminding me that I ain't all that. And I asked him 3 times, y'all. I said, Lord, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I asked him about 100 times. Remove it from me. But I hear him saying, Keith, my grace is sufficient. Some of y'all say, David, what does that mean? He said, my unmerited favor towards you is so much that the issue you praying about don't even make me bat an eye. And what I need you to understand is the issue that you have makes you weak. But that's when you're going to find out how strong I am. And so when you got to cry in your midnight hour, just know that the strong one is right there in the room. And the strong one has the ability to pick you up and hold you in his arms. Lord, whatever you're doing in this season, just don't do it without me. Some of y'all ought to be able to raise your hand and say, Lord, if you're healing in this season, don't heal without me. If you're delivering in this season, Lord, not only may I need deliverance, but listen, I need deliverance for somebody else. And Lord, if you're blessing in this season, don't do it without me. Not only do I not want you to bless without me, but don't bless other folk and not bless me. Because I understand this thing better now. And now I understand that however you bless me to be a blessing. So as we stand all over this sanctuary,